Tisamenus insect. The genus Tisamenus native to the Philippines combines small to medium-sized species of stick insects. Taxonomy. In 1875, Carl Stahl established the genus Tisamenus in addition to the genus Hoploclonia. For this he specified this type species Tisamenus sartorius described by him in the same work. He also transferred the species described in 1848 as Phasmopachymophida planotum to his name Tisamenus diplanatus into this genus. At the same time, he transferred with the Canthopus draconinus today valid name Tisamenus draconina filipina species into the genus Hoploclonia. James Abram Garfield Wren and his son John William Holman Wren described the genus Alcono for Alcona hebardi in 1939. Although they discussed the special position of the two Hoploclonia species already known from Borneo, they synonymized Tisamenus with Hoploclonia. Therefore, they transferred all 7 previously known Tisamenus species, as well as Acanthodrus ranierius, today's name Tisamenus ranierius, to the genus Hoploclonia, in which they described another 8 species. For the Filipino species, they created an identification key and subdivided it into 4 subgroups according to morphological aspects. In 2004, the 2 genera were separated again and the Filipino species were transferred back to the genus Tisamenus. Only those occurring on Borneo were left in the genus Hoploclonia. In 2021, a study based on genetic analysis shows that Alcona hebardi, the only remaining species of this genus at that time, belongs to Tisamenus, whereby Alcona became a synonym for it. The division into subgroups made in 1939 could not be confirmed for 4 investigated species known by name. The name Tisamenus is the Latinization of the Greek Tisamenos tire to sigmorpha muetso nuomicron sigma, ancient, male given name. Valid species are Tisamenus ovilanus lit in Eusebio 2010, Tisamenus armadillo Redenbacher 1906, Tisamenus verbolivar 1890, Tisamenus atropos Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, T. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus cervicornis bolivar 1890, Tisamenus clover Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus diplanatus westward 1848, Tisamenus draconina westward 1848, Tisamenus fraticular Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus essex Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus hebardi Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Sun, equal Alcona hebardi Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus calahonilet and Eusebio 2005, Tisamenus lachesis Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus plula Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus ranierius westward 1859, Tisamenus sartorius Stahl 1875, Tisamenus spedex Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939, Tisamenus samilonally lit and Eusebio 2005, Tisamenus teglog Wren, J. F. G. and Wren, J. W. H. 1939. Description. The representatives of this genus are consistently small to medium-sized with 2.5 to the male and 3.0 to the female sex. Both sexes are wingless. The often very similar species differ mainly in their species-specific spines. There are also species that have no or barely recognizable spines. A triangular structure in the mesonotum is characteristic of all representatives. The short side of this isosceles triangle runs parallel to the leading margin of the mesonotum. The other 2 sides are longer and meet more or less after a third of the mesonotum length, depending on the species. From there are mostly clear keel runs in the middle. In some species this begins at the front margin of the mesonotum and can therefore also be recognized in the triangle. Sometimes it extends to the abdomen or even to the end. Spines are often found on the lateral margins of the thorax, in pairs in the pronotum, and in the middle of the meso and metanotum. Many representatives also have additional paired and / or centrally arranged spines on the abdomen. The color is mostly dominated by light brown tones. Often, black, light brown to beige patterns can be found, less often even almost white patterns. Males are usually less patterned. When looking at them from above, they often notice their abdomen, which is apparently much too narrow. This is especially true for species whose thorax becomes wider and wider towards the metanotum. The proportions of the females appear more symmetrical, as the abdomen is always wider than that of the males. As is typical for the representatives of the Obromini, they have a secondary ovipositor at the end of the abdomen for laying the eggs on the ground, which is rather short in Tisamenus females. It surrounds the actual ovipositor and is ventral form from the 8th sternite, here called subgenital plate or operculum, and dorsally from the 11th tergum, which is referred to here as the supraanal plate or epiproc. Way of life and reproduction. The nocturnal animals hide near the ground during the day. Even at night, they hardly climb higher than 20 centimeters on the food plants. The eggs are laid in the ground by the females with the ovipositor. They are 4 to long and 2.5 to wide and usually covered with more or less clear lines of hairs. The micropylar plate has 3 arms and resembles an upside-down Y. The arm pointing to the lid operculum is significantly longer than the arms pointing to the lower pearl. The nymphs hatch after 4 to 6 months and need 5 to 7 months to become adult. Interroristics. In the terrariums of the enthusiasts, in addition to some species that have already been identified, there are many previously scientifically unprocessed breeding stocks. The first animals of the genus which were bred in Europe were collected in 2009 by Joachim Bressil and Terry Heitzmann in the Quezon Museum. Locations of the Sierra Madre Mountains are real and real itself. Brazil, Rob Cranes and Tim Bollins found more animals in 2010. The animals first came to Europe as Tisamenus sp. Sierra Madre or Tisamenus sp. Real. The species was later identified by Brazil as Tisamenus sertorius. The Phasmid study group lists them under PSG number 314. At the end of November 2008, Heisman collected a female in the Quezon National Park from which another breeding stock can be traced back. Specimens of this stock are called Tisamenus sp. Quezon National Park. According to initial assessments, it also belongs to Tisamenus sertorius Brazil. Bollins and Mark Bichel also found other specimens on Luzon in the province of Oro near the city San Luis and Cagayan. These are also similar to Tisamenus sertorius, but have more or clearer spines, especially along the middle of the body. They are also named after where they were found and called Tisamenus sp. Cagayan. The Phasmid study group gave them the PSG number 359. In October and November 2010, Heitzman found Tisamenus diplanatus in southern Luzon in the Pocto Mountains on Mount Pilog and on Mount Osea, including the previously unknown males. The resulting breeding stock is called Tisamenus diplanatus poctal and received PSG number 399 from a Phasmid study group. In 2014, Heitzman again collected other, very similar animals in the Ilocos region. According to their origin, they are called Tisamenus sp. Ilocos and listed under PSG number 391. Frank Henneman identified these as Tisamenus raticula, of which no females were known until then. Further stocks are Tisamenus sp. Sabine collected by Heitzman and Albert Kang and Tisamenus sp. Cagayan. Another one, called Tisamenus sp. Paloi, comes from the island Paloi belonging to the Cagayan province. It resembles Tisamenus sp. Cagayan, but is bigger and clearly more contrasting and more intensely coloured. From Cameroon's north comes a stock which, according to Bank et al., belongs to Tisamenus clotho. It was initially called Tisamenus cf. Clotho cameroons. No longer inbreeding of Tisamenus are body introduced as Alacono hebodi sigota and a small species called Tisamenus sp. Ifugao, which was collected by Heitzman and Kang in April 2015. The keeping and breeding of most of the species mentioned is considered easy. They willingly feed on various forage plants such as bramble, hazel, firethorn, ivy and hypericum. They only need small, moderately moist terrariums with a substrate for laying eggs. Gallery. Tisamenus diplanatus poctal. JPG pair of Tisamenus diplanatus poctal Tisamenus sp. Quezon National Park pair. JPG pair of Tisamenus sp. Quezon National Park. Tisamenus sp. Cagayan pair. JPG pair of Tisamenus sp. Cagayan. Tisamenus sp. Spuin. JPG pair of Tisamenus sp. Spuin. Tisamenus sp. Cagayan pair. JPG pair of Tisamenus sp. Cagayan. Tisamenus sp. Paloi pair. JPG pair of Tisamenus sp. Paloi. Tisamenus cf. Clotho cameroons. JPG pair of Tisamenus clotho cameroons.